Yeah, welcome to your day off. My name is Corey. Of course, sitting with my bud Tone. What's up, Tony?
What's going on, homie?
Nothing, man.
I'm curious where this conversation is going to go. I'm actually kind of excited. I'm gonna let you say the last name because you always get that correct.
Yeah,
It's Yvonne and Atouzo
Neihule.
Yeah,
Did I get it?
You got it right.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
They're a married couple out of LA, and they're doing things a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, certainly. They reached out to me on Instagram and they kind of told me what they were up to and like totally intrigued by how they're doing things or what they're doing.
Yeah, they're changing things up a little bit, and I'm really kind of excited to get into how they're doing it.
Should we get in?
To do it.
Let's do it. So, Miss Yvonne and Atouzo, right?
No, yep, that's correct.
Welcome to your day off.
Hi.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Thanks,
welcome.
man. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah. I know it's pretty early out. I guess it's not too early now.
It's not too bad. No.
Yeah, it's like 9.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. 9 a.m.
It's been afternoon for us.
Right?
Lunchtime.
they got up for us though.
Yeah.
So are both of you guys in the hair world?
Yes, we are.
Awesome. First of all, where are you guys from?
I'm from LA, native LA, and then Atouzo's from India.
Yeah, I was born and raised in India.
Oh, okay.
I came here when I was 19 to go to college in Texas. Then moved to LA.
Where'd you live in India?
I lived in New Delhi, which is the capital, but I was born in the Northeast called Nagaland. And then I studied in different cities from Bangalore, Pune, New Delhi, Shillong. So I moved around quite a bit.
Oh, how was the culture shock when you went from India to Texas?
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, I grew up with Archie comics, so.
Come on now.
So you went to college in Texas. How did you discover the hair industry?
I got into hair when I moved to LA right around 2005, I think.
He was doing photography first, so he was doing like fashion photography and things like that, and then met a hairdresser, right? And then kind of got involved that way.
That's pretty cool. Like you usually hear the evolution the other way, right? Like we have many hairdresser friends that have gotten into photography afterwards, so it's kind of neat to kind of see like the kind of
the other way. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
So that's been really cool because he shoots a lot of our things, and so that's
he already trained his aesthetic eye.
Yeah,
into it.
Exactly. I mean, at least he had it, right?
Yeah.
So when you were doing photography, were you doing fashion type stuff or was it more like landscape photography?
Yeah, it was all fashion. I studied at 2 different schools in India before I came here. So that was kind of my first passion in the beauty industry.
Yeah, but that's like the old school type where you develop, you develop the photos before digital.
You were shooting film, huh?
How about you, Yvonne? How did you get in the hair?
I started doing hair. Well, I started beauty school when I was 16 years old while I was in high school through an ROP program through my high school.
That's cool. So you've been pretty much your whole adult life, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. So when I graduated high school, I had my license and the plan wasn't completely just to do hair initially. It was just to kind of do hair while I was in college. And then I ended up sticking with it.
Yeah, I think once it grabs you, it keeps you.
Right.
My mom wasn't too happy about it, but.
So how did your path cross?
We met at a salon in Pasadena, and where we lived for a while, and then you went to go.
Yeah, I went to
Santa
Monica at a salon called Lux Lab, and then from there went to West Hollywood and worked for a company called Warren Tricome. They're based out of New York. They have a lot of salons now, but they had one in LA, which did really well for PR purposes for them during that time. It was the peak of the Hills and all those shows, so they would shoot a lot in the salon during that time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know. That's like, being in DC, we just don't have that kind of, there's not that impact on us, right?
Yeah.
After Kelly Clarkson
Kelly Clarkson. And then I did hair, but, kind of why we're even doing what we're doing is, you go to beauty school and after you're done with beauty school, you still really don't know how to do hair. At least here, that's how it is. And so I was assisting at a salon, and I, again, still didn't know how to do hair. I was trying to learn, and I would ask the stylist, so why are you guys using this? Or what are you guys doing? And no one would actually give me a direct answer. And I was like, they just don't want to like tell me or like something like they're like, just use this. I'm like, but why, why use that? And no one could give me a direct answer. And so I realized that a lot of people, even at the salon that I was at, they really didn't know color really well. And so there was this girl that came into my salon, and she was an educator for Redken, and she knew the why behind everything. She knew color really well. And I was like enamored with her as a young hairstylist. And I was like, how do I become like you? And she's like, well, you can try out to be an educator. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll try to do that. But again, I still didn't know how to color or cut or nothing. But I just auditioned to become an educator, and they just wanted you to be able to talk about a product. And so I just did that. And then they hired me on, and then they gave us this big book called Big Bertha, which was like a big giant book of like hair color. And I just taught myself how to do hair color through those books. And I just faked it till I maked it.
Wow.
That's pretty cool, actually. I mean, that you had the initiative to be like, well, if no one's going to teach me, I'm going to Big Bertha it and figure it out.
Yeah. And then I would go teach at beauty schools or other salons, and I was like super intimidated because I was like super young. And
that took a lot of courage. A young person that felt like they didn't really know anything, and then they taught themselves, and then now they're going out to teach others.
Yeah,
that takes a lot of courage.
I was really kind of like nervous because there's like older hairdressers or people that really knew hair, I thought. And then I realized that a lot of hairdressers out there really didn't know color very well, or even like basic knowledge of like what counteracts each other and all of that. So I really enjoyed teaching, and my way of teaching is very like simplistic. And I feel like educators sometimes try to make it overly complicated to make themselves seem smart, but it's very, very simple. And that's just like the way I would teach it. Just some like things that you could remember or memorize and things like that.
That's pretty great, man. It's like just to simplify, if I could speak, simplify the whole.
It's like you're trying to say a last name or something.
I know. Glad your last name wasn't Simplify. Just to simplify the whole process and just kind of break it down. I mean, that's genius in itself, right? That's like hula hoop genius, right?
Right.
Like, who invented that? That's crazy. So did you guys open a salon? When did you guys open your salon?
So he was working in West Hollywood. I was working in Pasadena, and we just said, you know what, let's just go ahead and move forward and try to open our own thing. And I actually never really wanted to own my own salon just because I knew how much work it was going to be. But, this guy's always the one that pushes me. Always the one that pushes. I'm always the scaredy cat. And we said, okay, let's try to look at spaces. And we ended up finding a space. Well, we were trying to figure out like where in LA should we put it.
Yeah, we were trying to test the market and see, what area would be the best area. Obviously, we knew Pasadena well. She grew up in Claremont, which is east of here. And so, we were trying to figure out, me coming from West Hollywood, we were trying to figure out, what area would be best. So we started doing a market research in LA, period, where the growth was. And we found out that downtown was, at that time, this was 2007. And this was before the market crash in 2008. Right. And, I found an article called, The Land of the Cranes. And basically there was just so much going on in downtown, and everybody was building buildings left and right, or if they were old buildings, they were turning them into apartments upstairs and retail at the bottom. So we decided to open in downtown. A lot of our friends thought we were crazy because downtown at that time was on the verge of, the Renaissance, but it wasn't there yet, and even the street that we picked today just happened to be the busiest and the most expensive street for apartments. And Whole Foods just opened up a couple of years ago on our street. Nomad Hotel just opened up out of New York. Yeah.
We
And
walked
so-
around downtown LA trying to find spaces, and I was 27, he was 28, and never owned a business before. People wouldn't even talk to us as far as like leasing.
Yeah, we
space.
couldn't even get a lease.
No-
No one would call us back
No
because we were young people.
They're like, "Have
with
you ever
no-
owned a business before?"
Yeah.
We're like, "No." But we have They're like, "Yeah." But fortunately, there was a space located where we're located on 6th and Olive, and it had been desolate for 7 years. The whole entire like retail area had been desolate, and really there was nothing really on that street. And so they just took a risk on us, and they just let us lease. And yeah, we ended up building our first store in 2007. And
Well, we started construction in 07.
Oh yeah,
This was in the
November
when things were
2007.
still great. And
Right.
so we were building it. I think we were into our 4th month. We signed our lease in 2007, somewhere in the summer, and then our construction started
No,
at the end of
it was November. I
November,
think, because
yeah.
it was like 6 months.
yeah.
of
And then
construction.
unfortunately, right before we opened, the market crashed.
Yeah,
And we had signed a 10-year lease.
yeah.
And spend $250,000 on it.
Also downtown LA, there was 0 high-end salons. We were the first one to open, and even like the neighbors around us, they were like, "Really, you guys are opening a high-end salon right here?" They thought we were crazy. They're like, "I don't think you're going to get any customers." And we just really took a risk on a neighborhood that was,
up and coming.
And
I mean,
it
now
was-
it's a no-brainer. If you ask anyone in LA, "Oh yeah, I'm opening a business now," I'm like, "Sure you are,"
Yeah.
because it's growing so much,
Mhm.
But we were the pioneers back in the day.
So it was really
when-
difficult getting stylists because there was no salons around. So, usually when you open a salon, you can, get stylists from other salons or anything like that. So we literally started just my clientele, his clientele, and client 0, stylist 0.
We had no advertising done. We just opened our doors.
Wow.
People, showed up, and by the grace of God, we slowly
This is
started
before
getting
the
the
days
traction.
of Yelp or
Yeah.
Instagram. Facebook just started during that time.
Yeah, social media. You were handcuffed that way as well. Because today, social media, you can get a
Yeah.
jump. But
I mean, how are we talking to these people? Like they start off a salon. They don't have any money. They don't have any advertisers. They don't have any salon. They're in a terrible spot, like location they didn't have, right? Like how in the world did you guys make it, man? How'd you do it? And how long were you swallowing? Is today the day that we make $1? Is today what
Right.
was that experience?
I have to say it was God, because the one thing that, our first month, we didn't have rent for. So we called up a friend of ours called Peter Davis. And
Shout out to Peter Davis. Whoop, whoop.
right. Peter helped us out.
Yeah. First
And
month.
so, he loaned us the money to pay our first month's rent.
Mhm.
And miraculously,
After
that, we were able to cover our overheads.
wow.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any money set aside.
Yeah.
We didn't, we had used up everything we had.
For construction. Yeah.
Wow. So did you guys get because it was an up and coming neighborhood and it wasn't quite a neighborhood yet, did you guys get looking 10 years into the future, did you guys get a pretty good lease?
Yes. Thankfully, we were able to negotiate. We got a really great price in the very beginning, and then it,
And then we
increased.
negotiated 6 months free rent while
Yeah.
we were building.
Mhm.
So which was, pivotal as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because
then,
we put so much money inside
Yeah.
the design.
so
of
we
it.
didn't get any TI. They just said, we'll give you 6 months, and you just put your own money in and build it.
Right.
So
Tenant improvement. TI is tenant improvement.
Yeah, got it.
Tenant improvement money.
Wow.
And so we just literally went out there and grassroots type marketing, flyers, gift cards, got into the loft buildings that were around, put, flyers underneath their doors. We would, the little staff that we had, we'd go march to streets and got people in our doors.
Dude, that's just the hustle right there. That's the hustle on the grind, right?
Yeah, she already had it in her when she was reading Big Bertha. She already knew how to hustle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
that's
I grew up with hustle. So it's just like, you go and make it happen. You know, the only thing that was around that was big was like a Ralph's. So, and everyone would go to the Ralph's. So we would go outside the Ralph's and pass out flyers and, you know, get clients in our doors that way.
I have mad respect for you guys. That, that's how like great stories are created, right? I mean, literally out of nothing, out of thin air. And here they, you know, we haven't even gotten into the good stuff yet.
I know, right?
It's already getting good.
You know, we had, you know, pretty, I would say, inexperienced hairdressers at the time because, you know, there was no salons to kind of draw from. So we did have a couple of hairdressers, but you know, what I like to say is they have soft spots in their education or in their skill. So we would do classes every single week, and they were required to have a model. And if they didn't have a model, you go out to the street, you go get one until you have a model.
So our education program, we hired a friend of ours that I used to work with at Warren Trachomey in West Hollywood. Her name is Chris Mejia. She was a Sassoon teacher. She actually still teaches a lot. And so we brought her in every Tuesday, and we started off with a G-bob. Everybody had a G-bob every Tuesday until they passed. So if they didn't pass, they kept on bringing one every week until they passed and moved on to the next haircut. And so we had her come.
You guys didn't accept mannequins. You had to do it on a model.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You can't do it in doll head.
Yeah.
Doll heads, you don't have like colics and, you know, the way the hair lays, you know, it's nothing like on real hair, you know. And then I had a color test. So they had to pass their color test too. So I would teach the color from my Redken days. And I kind of had all those classes like already kind of set out on how I did things. So all of them, they were required to get at least a C or better on their test. And it was like, I don't know, like a 12-page test.
So you two were the only hairdressers until you trained your staff to, I guess,
to be to the level, because, you know, we wanted the service to be, you know, excellent and to what we call the Neihule standard. And so our staff wasn't there yet. So, you know, what do?
We had her come in for a whole year every Tuesday to teach.
wow.
You had Chris come in.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And we paid her, you know, obviously. So it was definitely an investment, but it was worth the investment to make sure that, you know, every single person, every client coming in got a great haircut and great color. And beyond that our reputation was upheld. Because, you know, if you get a bad reputation, we're a brand new salon. And if a client comes in and they have a bad experience, they're not
just downhill after that.
Yeah, then somebody
I think that's what's upholded our brand for this many years, is that when someone comes to our salon, they know that they're going to have a great haircut, a great color. You know, we also do nails and waxing and facials and everything. And so everyone knows, as far as the community knows, if you go to Neihule, you're going to have an excellent service.
So do you, so like I know Sassoon is very like regimented in the way that they cut hair and stuff. Is there like when you go to Neihule, is there an expectation of what they're going to get? Meaning like you know, we follow these steps, we do these things.
So no, I mean, I think that Vidal Sassoon's great, and it's a great thing to have as a base of education. But, you know, things have evolved and changed. And so everything's not going to be blunt and everything's not going to be blown with a Denman brush. You know, it's not like round brushes are not allowed and things like that. So we definitely deconstruct. I use everything from a razor, thinning shears. It's not super, super blunt, but until I feel like you need to have a strong foundation of education before you can start doing things like
chopping into it, you know. So I think Sassoon's great in that way because, you know, we've all, you know, if you look at Tony and Guy, if you look at, you know, all the other schools, you know, Paul Mitchell's, you know, what have you, you know, they all kind of started with Sassoon foundations, the ABC of cutting, you know, and then, you know, Tony and Guy is really choppy and, you know, really, you know, but they all started with the Sassoon foundation. So
Sure.
we believe in Sassoon foundation as well. But, you know, nowadays the way we do hair is very different from how it used to be.
Yeah, we used to refer to the Sassoon as like the Sassoon discipline, right? Like you have the Sassoon discipline and then you kind of build from there.
Right.
Okay, so let's get into it, man. I think we've kind of set it up. So you guys have a school inside of your salons? No. Tell us what you're doing and how it's working.
Our flagship salon is on 6th and Olive, and we've been there now for 12 years, right? This year, this May actually will be 12 years. Then we just recently opened our Academy location, which is a hybrid location, which is a salon and also an academy. So it's a full-blown cosmetology school where we're teaching cosmetology, aesthetics, manicuring. We're also doing a microblading course and massage therapy. That just opened that salon portion opened in December. And then we just fully got our license approvals from BBPE and also Board of Cosmetology as of April 16th.
Yeah.
That's when we started classes.
So you guys are a foundation cosmetology school. So you're going in, taking people that have never held shears before, and you're
Right.
taking them through the process.
Yep.
So how does the hybrid work?
So the reason why we wanted the hybrid, well, there's a couple reasons, but so we have a couple renters that are renting stations and a couple stylists there as well. And then we have the classrooms that are located in the back of the academy. We have 2 separate classrooms, cosmetology, and then also our manicuring, which takes place at 5:30 to 10 right now. We have part-time program. And then aesthetics and massage will be during the daytime. But they're in the classrooms. And then once they get to a certain level of hours, they'll be able to start doing salon services on clients. But I wanted them to be able to work alongside experienced hairdressers. And also 1 day a week, they'll be able to extern at our flagship location 8 hours a week. So basically, they'll be able to assist while in beauty school. So they will have a real life experience of what a salon actually looks like, feels like. And hopefully by the time that they graduate, they'll be, salon ready. Because I feel like the whole beauty school experience is broken. And like going back to what I was saying in the very, very beginning, when I went to beauty school after I left, I really didn't know anything. Although I passed my state board exam, I really didn't know how to cut hair, color hair, or anything like that. So there are great schools out there. I'm not saying there's not great schools out there, but we just wanted to do something a little different, and where the students can work alongside, say, a hairdresser that does ethnic hair, a barber, a really experienced barber, a person that does amazing extensions, a colorist that's just, out of this world, a precision cutter. So they have a well-versed education, and they're able to see, well, where do I fall in that? And where's my passion? Is it in barbering? Is it in aesthetics? Is it in brows? I mean, there's so many different things. And I think you just, even as a stylist in my salon, as an owner, I learn from my peers on a daily basis, So I think that's...
Yeah, the whole idea of the hybrid really is because as our industry with schools, you go to school and you pass your state board, whatever state you're going to school at, and then you get out and you really don't know what the real world looks like or what salon work looks like, So
real salon life.
Yeah. So our goal is to have the kids go to school, get on the floor way before they even pass their exam, and learn from these great stylists and ask questions and and kind of do an apprenticeship before they even graduate. So that way, when they graduate, their time between graduation and assisting and getting on the floor is a lot less.
That's kind of cool, because I mean, you're creating both, because you can either apprentice, but you don't have, you got to do the classroom on your own, or you do the cosmetology school, which is more like a classroom, and then somewhat learn how to do hair. You're taking actually the both worlds and merging them together, so you actually get the classroom and the hands-on.
That's great, amazing, really.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that.
I think that unfortunately, the way it is right now, you go to beauty school, you get your license, and then hopefully you find a salon that has some sort of assisting program. Hopefully you find a mentor that's going to.
But even the problem with that, Yvonne, is that when you finish school, I mean, I know that I was and I did do an assisting program after school, but when I left school, I just thought I was hot shit, and I was going to go on the floor and I was going to make $100K, and it's one thing to nobody's looking to go to an assisting program right out of school, right? Like everybody wants to go and like slay hair. You know, they don't want to.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so it's actually a great gift that you guys are giving by kind of like doing it all at once.
Because it sounds like they're able to slay hair once they finish with them. 'Cause I know, like with you, I finished school, I went out to slay hair. All of a sudden, I saw a lot of tears. I was like, yeah, I need to go.
Those were
apprentice.
those were his own tears.
Yeah. So I spent another year apprenticing, assisting at a really great salon. But yeah, I wish I had a Neihule next to me.
You know, some stylists get stuck in Assistantville, you know, and again, like I was saying, hopefully they find an assistant program and all of that. And then you spend what, a year, 2 years doing that. And so now at this point, you're like at a 3-year, possibly 4-year mark before you actually even start building your own clientele. And then it's going to take another year to build your clientele.
And tell an 18-year-old that they can't do that. You know, tell an 18-year-old that they have to, you know, wait 4 or 5 years, you know, before they can actually start doing clients. And we're going to get a lot of people interested in the industry.
And then a lot of people just give up in somewhere around there, you know, after beauty school, assisting or something, you know, building clients. It's just too difficult, you know, and so it's not set up for the students to succeed. And so we want to do something where we've created something so the student can succeed in the hair industry.
Okay, so there's so many like real world questions that I have, and I mean the first question is: are you graduating people to work in other salons, or are you graduating people just to work with you guys?
Both. I would say both. You don't have to work at Neihule afterwards, but I think it's really cool that the fact that they'll be able to do student services while they're in school, and then hopefully, you know, they build a little clientele, and then we can transition them on the floor, and they'll have their student service clients now transition into real clients.
Now, would they transition into the flagship store, or would they stay?
Either
way. And then, so how many? So when did you guys start the program? I'm sorry.
We just started in April.
Okay, cool. So you, how many students do you currently have?
About 10.
That's
so
our goal. Our goal is to just up 10 every month. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have about 50 plus.
That's awesome.
So our struggle bus right now, because we always have to do
Can I quote that struggle bus?
I like that.
is we do not have financial aid. New schools, you have to wait 2 years before, probably it's actually like 3 before you can actually get financial aid. So we're competing with schools that have financial aid, although we are doing 50% off of our original tuition for cosmetology.
Just to entice people, you know. But on top of it, you know, we just found out, like I think 2 months ago, NACAS, that is actually in charge of accrediting schools. They just put a memo out saying every school that is, you know, in the future that gets approved is going to have to be profitable first. And that wasn't the case back in the day. So when people opened schools back in the day, they would just try to survive
for the
some
first
way
2 years
or another until they get financial aid. But that's not the case anymore.
Wow.
It's gonna be, of course, everything has to be extra difficult for us. So
take these first 10 students and compare them to 10 students that's in just a normal cosmetology school, and in 3 years see the difference of maybe where they are. You know what I mean? That's going to be volumes for you guys.
But you know what I mean? You see it as a challenge, but I kind of see your model as an advantage if that's the case, right? I mean, you also have the salon aspect of it. You know, the whole business is the salon and the school. So, you know, you guys actually have a step up on being profitable. I mean, think about like the school that starts off in like a strip mall someplace. You know, how in the world are they going to be profitable without financial aid and stuff? I mean, your business is the business, right?
Yeah, we didn't even plan it that way, but it just, you know, ended up that way. And thankfully, we are also teaching our manicuring program. And that's actually, initially, we didn't think that was going to be a thing that we'd focus on, but it's actually become quite the thing to focus on because a lot of schools don't offer the manicuring program. So that's going to be pretty cool to see that grow as well.
Yeah, it seems like there's a shortage of finding good people in the manicuring world.
Mhm.
And we've had two
Good-
salon
you mean
chains
good-
that have reached out to us, wanting, to basically feed them after our students graduate.
So what he means is that he's like a brand called Mini Lux, right? And what was the
Yeah.
other one?
I can't remember the other name.
They are looking for manicurists to hire, and so it's hard to find manicurists. Even when we owned a nail salon, I didn't mention that, but we owned like a nail salon blow dry bar concept that we opened in 2011, which we now have sold that. But it was also a challenge to find manicurists during that time. So it's going to be cool to be able to,
Partner with these companies
give
and
like some job placement for the graduates that are graduating from our manicuring program.
That's pretty cool. How long is a manicuring program
It's only 3.5 months. It's pretty short.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's just another profit center then for them.
Mhm.
I mean, I think you guys are set up well to show profit.
So another aspect that we're doing is on Sundays and Mondays, we're doing advanced education. We just had this really large educational event this past weekend with Edwards & Co. With Jay Edwards, and they are the largest brand in Australia as far as salons go. And they did a really cool demo and hands-on class on this past Sunday and Monday. So
this is their second time.
This is their second
They were
time.
here last month. They flew in from Australia. 8 of them flew in from Australia to teach, and they've been traveling all over the States teaching at different salons. And so our goal is not only be a hub for education as far as cosmetology is concerned, for fresh, brand new students that are not in the industry that want to go to school, but also for licensed stylists. And we actually have quite a bit of classes that's booked already for this year, including the next one's Beyond the Ponytail, I think.
So we have advanced classes happening Sunday and Mondays. If you go to our education tab on our website at NeihuleAcademy.com, you'll see an array of educators, everything from updos and braids to master colorist and barbers. And also we have a couple different like skin type stuff. There's one thing called BB Glow and plasma fiberblast and microblading. So we have a ton of different classes happening. Schwarzkopf and also Redken has partnered with us, and so Schwarzkopf is going to be doing some really large events at the school, and Kevin Murphy's doing some events.
Kevin Murphy,
Bumble,
the director of global.
Bumble and Bumble is doing some educational events at the salon too, at the academy as well.
That's all really cool. I can't next time we're in LA, we definitely have to do a drive-by.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. You guys just seem like you're figuring it all out. But again, I'm going to go back to Yvonne for a sec. I mean, the girl's hustle is insane. We're just going to figure it out,
Oh, he's the same way.
No disrespect. No disrespect at all. I'm just like, she was like,
I'm just a passenger.
That's a good husband right there.
If it wasn't for Atouzo's push, we wouldn't have Neihule at all. Because I'm the scaredy cat. But then once I'm all in, I'm like, okay, we got to make this happen somehow, some way. But the academy location, I wanted to do it, but I was scared to do it. And it's scary, to put yourself out there and to start something, new all again. And I call it, when you birth something to this baby, and then the construction part is the fun part, what I call the fun part. And then after, once it's like, born, it's like, oh God, now how do I feed this thing? How do I take care of this thing? How do I make it, happen? And so when we first opened our doors at the academy, it's still difficult. We're still trying to get students and everything. I can see some light at the end of the tunnel now, but it's definitely not easy,
So when you guys hire your outside educators, are most of them LA based, or are you bringing people in from all over the country?
People are coming from all over. Yeah, I can't remember Jamie something. So what I'm doing is that I just find some talented stylists, or what not just stylists, but skin in and or whatever, and then reach out to them, and letting them know we have this amazing space. It's 5,000 square feet. So, and the classroom size are really large, so they can hold, really large classes. We had Heidi Margaret was our first one. And then it just kind of just snowballed from there. I just started getting more and more and more. And so what we want to be, or what we are, is a hub of education for the LA area for advanced education.
You guys are amazing, dude. Congratulations for doing this. I'm kind of blown away about, how involved and how committed they are to our industry.
But how different, you know what I mean?
But in a different way.
Yeah, doing things differently.
Like I can't wait to talk to them in like a year or two and see kind of how it's evolved, because with these two behind it, it's going to be huge.
Right.
So that's incredible, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for giving us a couple minutes of your time and explaining what you guys are up to. Because
thank you for interviewing us.
Completely.
It's our first time doing something like this, so it's like a little different for us, but.
No worries, man.
You guys are fantastic, and you guys are doing things different. You're shaking it up, and you're doing it to better the industry. You're bettering young hairdressers, and we talk.
I forgot to mention this. We also started a foundation. It's called Neihule Family Foundation, and our paperwork is not completely done.
It takes about 8 months or so to get a approval from the federal government. So we're waiting on that. We've sent in all the paperwork already for the nonprofit. And once that's approved, our goal is to give free tuition to foster kids and at-risk youth.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Bravo, guys.
Yeah.
So how can our listeners learn more about you, find out more about the Neihule Family Foundation, and learn more about just you guys? And
Neihule Family.
First off, you better spell Neihule, because nobody's gonna be able to find it.
Right?
Our main website is www.neihule. That's NEIHULE.com. And then the second website is
our academy website.
Our academy website. It's NeihuleAcademy.com. On the academy one, you can set up a tour to come see the facility. So for cosmetology or any of the other programs that we offer. The foundation stuff we haven't put up online yet, just because it's not completed yet.
Sure.
They're waiting for the approval first.
Yeah, you guys, it's only been approved for a month anyways. I mean, and you guys are shaking.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much. And thank you very much for joining us on your day off. Hey, so there it is. Hey, this is a message that we've been trying to bring, I don't know, for the last couple months, actually since we started the podcast. Hey, so if you like the podcast, or if you find that it's useful, please leave us a review, a 5-star review on iTunes. Leave us a rating and a review.
But if you don't like it, forget about it.
Yeah, totally forget about this message. We also want to thank Sarah and Blaine from Pretty Gritty. Sarah and Blaine, they are a band out of Portland, Oregon, and we just want to thank them very much for allowing us to use their song, Pleased to Meet You, on our podcast. That's cool. I think you can find their music on iTunes.
Peace and hair grease.